At the heart of the gripping narrative from the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., lies the extraordinary instincts of Riot, a Belgian Malinois K9 whose keen senses uncovered a hidden threat that eluded even the most advanced human and technological security measures. The summit, a high-stakes gathering of global defense leaders including the U.S. Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs, demanded airtight security at the Grand Hyatt, Washington. Amid this fortress-like environment, Riot, partnered with his handler officer Matt Collins, patrolled the eastern approach, a critical VIP entry point. Unlike typical police dogs, Riot was no ordinary K9. He was trained through an experimental homeland security program to detect subtle physiological signals of deception or danger, such as micro-expressions, altered breathing patterns, or stress-induced changes in demeanor. These skills, honed to near superhuman precision, allowed Riot to sense what no scanner, checkpoint, or human eye could: a predator masquerading as a protector. The moment Riot encountered a Secret Service officer named Frank Castle at a security checkpoint, his behavior shifted dramatically. His ears pricked forward, his muscles tensed beneath his tactical vest, and his amber eyes locked onto Castle with an intensity that Matt, with 3 years of experience reading his partner, immediately recognized as significant. This was not the dog's usual alertness to the chaotic summit environment. It was a focused fixation, a silent alarm that something was deeply wrong. Riot's training enabled him to pick up on cues invisible to others, perhaps a fleeting tension in Castle's posture, a controlled stress in his voice, or a microsecond of hesitation that betrayed his facade. Despite Castle's flawless credentials, professional demeanor, and correct uniform, Riot's persistent alertness signaled danger, refusing to relent even as Matt initially attributed it to the high-pressure setting. As the summit progressed, Riot's instincts proved unerring. His repeated focus on Castle, marked by protective positioning and a low growl, pushed Matt to probe further, ultimately revealing Castle as Francisco Ibarra, a Sinaloa cartel operative with assassination tools. Riot's ability to detect Ibarra's covert intent, described as the predator hiding among protectors, was not a reaction to forged IDs or hidden weapons, but to the operative's physiological state, a heightened awareness typical of someone in a combat mindset. This remarkable feat underscored the unique value of K9 units like Riot, whose instincts transcended the limitations of technology and human judgment. In a world of RFID scanners, snipers, and multi-agency vetting, it was a 70-pound dog who saved the day, proving that sometimes the most sophisticated defense is a canine's raw, unfiltered perception. Riot's story is a testament to the power of animal instinct, a reminder that in critical moments, a dog's senses can cut through deception to protect lives. At the core of the dramatic events at the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., lies the profound trust between Officer Matt Collins and his Belgian Malinois K9. Riot, a bond that proved instrumental in averting a catastrophic assassination attempt. The summit, a high-profile gathering of global defense leaders, including the U.S. Secretary of Defense, was secured with layers of advanced technology and multi-agency personnel at the Grand Hyatt, Washington. Amid this high-stakes environment, Matt and Riot patrolled the vulnerable eastern approach, a VIP entry point for motorcades. Riot, trained in an experimental homeland security program to detect subtle physiological cues of deception, exhibited an unusual fixation on a Secret Service officer named Frank Castle. His ears pricked, muscles tensed, and he positioned himself protectively, signaling danger that Matt, with 3 years of partnership, had learned to heed. This trust, forged through shared challenges and a pivotal past mistake, drove Matt to investigate Castle, ultimately uncovering a deadly threat. Matt's decision to trust Riot's persistent alerts was not instinctive at first, but was shaped by a painful lesson from the Westlake incident 2 years prior. During a diplomatic security detail, Riot had repeatedly signaled suspicion toward a staff member with impeccable credentials. Matt, then less attuned to his K9's cues, dismissed the alerts as distractions, only to later discover the staffer was gathering intelligence for a foreign entity. The breach was contained, but Matt's misstep nearly cost him Riot's trust, a bond critical to their effectiveness. This experience transformed Matt's approach, teaching him to value Riot's instincts over superficial assurances. At the summit, when Riot's focus on Castle persisted, marked by a low growl and tactical positioning, Matt resisted the urge to brush it off, despite Castle's polished credentials and professional demeanor. Instead, he engaged Castle with probing questions, noting subtle inconsistencies like an expensive watch and overly smooth responses, all while Riot's unwavering alertness reinforced his suspicions. This trust culminated in a tense confrontation that exposed Castle as Francisco Ibarra, a Sinaloa cartel operative armed with assassination tools, likely targeting the Secretary of Defense. Matt's faith in Riot's signals, combined with his own tactical acumen, enabled a swift response. Riot's attack on Ibarra's arm and Matt's coordination with backup officers neutralized the threat. The incident underscored the indispensable partnership between Handler and K9, where trust transcends standard protocol. In a fortress of snipers, scanners, and vetted agents, it was Matt's willingness to act on Riot's instincts that prevented disaster, proving that a handler's trust in their K9 can be the difference between safety and calamity. This story, seamlessly linked to Riot's exceptional instincts, celebrates a partnership where intuition and training converge to protect lives in the face of unseen danger. The electrifying account of the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., reveals not only the extraordinary instincts of Riot, a Belgian Malinois K9, and the critical trust between him and his handler, Officer Matt Collins, but also the chilling discovery of a sophisticated assassination plot that nearly breached the summit's formidable security. Held at the Grand Hyatt, Washington, the summit gathered global defense leaders, including the U.S. Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs, under a security apparatus of snipers, multi-agency personnel, and advanced technology. As Matt and Riot patrolled the critical Eastern approach, Riot's fixation on a Secret Service officer named Frank Castle, marked by tensed muscles, pricked ears, and protective positioning, set off a chain of events that exposed Castle as Francisco Ibarra, a Sinaloa cartel operative. Ibarra's infiltration, armed with expertly forged credentials and deadly tools, posed a grave threat, likely aimed at the Secretary of Defense, underscoring the audacity and precision of his plan. Ibarra's deception was meticulously crafted. His Secret Service ID badge, embedded with stolen RFID signatures, was so convincing it passed routine inspections, suggesting either insider assistance or unparalleled technical expertise. His arsenal was equally alarming: a modified Glock 26 with custom suppressor threading and subsonic ammunition, a compact fiber optic camera, multiple fake IDs, and a fountain pen later identified as a single-shot neurotoxin delivery device. This pen, designed to kill within minutes while mimicking a natural medical event, was particularly insidious as it could evade standard toxicology screenings. Ibarra's background as a former Mexican Special Forces operative with suspected training in Eastern Europe, possibly Russia, equipped him with the skills to navigate the summit's concentric security perimeters. His chameleon-like adaptability, evident in surveillance photos showing varied appearances across countries, allowed him to blend seamlessly among vetted personnel, making his presence nearly undetectable. Riot's persistent alerts, rooted in his ability to sense Ibarra's predatory physiological state, were pivotal in unraveling this threat. Matt, guided by trust honed through past mistakes like the Westlake incident, probed Ibarra's cover with calculated questions, exposing inconsistencies such as a fabricated Pittsburgh Secret Service field office. The confrontation escalated when Ibarra drew his Glock, only to be thwarted by Riot's swift attack and Matt's coordination with backup officers. The discovery of Ibarra's true identity and arsenal sent shockwaves through the command center, transforming a potential security breach into a confirmed assassination attempt on American soil. This revelation, building on Riot's instincts and Matt's trust, highlighted the terrifying sophistication of modern threats, where even multi-layered defenses can be penetrated by a single, well-prepared operative. Ibarra's plan, foiled by a K9's unerring senses and a handler's faith, serves as a stark reminder of the ever-evolving challenges in safeguarding high-stakes events, cementing the indispensable role of intuitive partnerships in countering covert dangers. The riveting narrative of the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., not only showcases the remarkable instincts of Riot, a Belgian Malinois K9, the deep trust between him and his handler, Officer Matt Collins, and the unmasking of a sophisticated assassination plot, but also lays bare the vulnerabilities in even the most robust security systems when confronted with a cunning adversary. Held at the Grand Hyatt, Washington, the summit was a fortress, safeguarding global defense leaders like the U.S. Secretary of Defense and the Joint Chiefs with snipers on rooftops, concentric perimeters of checkpoints, and personnel from 5 agencies, all triple vetted. Yet despite this formidable setup, Francisco Ibarra, posing as Secret Service Officer Frank Castle, infiltrated the event with near-perfect forgeries and lethal tools, exposing critical gaps that only Riot's unique abilities could bridge. This incident underscores the limitations of technology and human oversight, highlighting the indispensable role of K9 units in modern security. The summit's security was designed to be impenetrable. The hotel, cleared of regular guests days earlier, was transformed into a multi-layered fortress with escalating access restrictions. Advanced RFID scanners, surveillance cameras, and encrypted communication channels supported a meticulously coordinated operation. Every officer, including Ibarra, had been vetted through rigorous background checks, and redundant sweeps ensured no oversight. However, Ibarra's forged Secret Service badge, embedded with stolen RFID signatures, bypassed standard verification systems, a feat suggesting either insider collusion or extraordinary technical prowess. His professional demeanor, correct uniform, and fluent use of protocol terminology further masked his true identity as a Sinaloa cartel operative. Armed with a modified Glock 26, a neurotoxin pen, and surveillance equipment, Ibarra moved freely, positioning himself to potentially strike the Secretary of Defense. This breach revealed a chilling truth. Even the most sophisticated systems can falter against a well-prepared infiltrator. Riot's intervention was the linchpin that exposed these vulnerabilities. Trained to detect subtle physiological cues, micro-expressions, stress responses, or controlled breathing, Riot sensed Ibarra's predatory mindset, alerting Matt with persistent focus and protective posturing. Matt, shaped by the Westlake incident, where ignoring Riot's warnings led to a security lapse, trusted his K9's instincts over Ibarra's flawless facade. His probing questions uncovered inconsistencies, such as Ibarra's claim of a non-existent Pittsburgh Secret Service field office, prompting a confrontation where Riot's swift attack neutralized the threat. The aftermath revealed the depth of the breach. Ibarra's tools were tailored for a covert assassination, capable of evading detection until it was too late. This incident, building on Riot's instincts, Matt's trust, and the exposure of Ibarra's plot, illuminated the fragility of relying solely on technology and protocol. The summit's near disaster prompted a reevaluation of security strategies. While human agents and machines failed to detect Ibarra's deception, Riot's ability to sense what scanners and vetting missed proved invaluable. This led Homeland Security to expand its K9 behavioral detection program, recognizing that dogs like Riot offer a unique layer of defense against sophisticated threats. The story, seamlessly linked to the prior revelations, underscores a critical lesson. In an era of advanced technology, the instinctual acuity of a K9 can uncover vulnerabilities no system can anticipate, ensuring protection where human and mechanical safeguards fall short. The dramatic events at the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., illuminated the extraordinary instincts of Riot, a Belgian Malinois K9. The unwavering trust between him and his handler, Officer Matt Collins, the exposure of a sophisticated assassination plot, and the vulnerabilities in even the most advanced security systems. Yet it was the heroic intervention of Riot and Matt, culminating in a decisive confrontation, that not only thwarted a catastrophic threat, but also reshaped the future of K9 security programs. Held at the Grand Hyatt, Washington, the summit was a fortress protecting global defense leaders, including the U.S. Secretary of Defense. When Riot's persistent alerts unmasked Francisco Ibarra, a Sinaloa cartel operative posing as a Secret Service officer, their actions saved lives and prompted a significant expansion of behavioral detection, K9 training, cementing their legacy in modern security. Riot's intervention was nothing short of heroic, as Matt, guided by trust forged through past lessons like the Westlake incident, probed Ibarra's suspicious behavior. The situation escalated rapidly. Ibarra, armed with a modified Glock 26 and a neurotoxin pen, drew his weapon in a calculated move. Riot, trained for armed threat scenarios, launched with explosive precision, clamping onto Ibarra's forearm and disrupting his aim, sending a shot into the ceiling. Matt, supported by Lieutenant Ramirez and other officers, tackled Ibarra in a chaotic struggle, with Riot maintaining his grip until commanded to release. This swift, coordinated response neutralized Ibarra, who was revealed to be targeting the Secretary of Defense. The discovery of his forged credentials, surveillance tools, and lethal devices underscored the gravity of the threat Riot's instincts had averted. The aftermath of this intervention reverberated beyond the summit. In a debriefing at FBI headquarters, investigators confirmed Ibarra's sophisticated plan, which had bypassed multi-layered security through expertly crafted forgeries and combat training. Riot's ability to detect Ibarra's predatory physiological cues, missed by scanners and human vetting, prompted Homeland Security Director Hampton to personally commend Matt and Riot. Recognizing that technology and human oversight had failed where a K9 succeeded, Hampton authorized an expansion of the behavioral detection K9 program. This initiative aimed to train more dogs to identify subtle signs of deception, ensuring future threats could be intercepted with similar precision. The incident, seamlessly building on the exposure of security gaps, highlighted the unique value of K9 units in complementing traditional defenses. Matt and Riot's return to routine patrols at Reagan National Airport marked a quiet resumption of duty, but their impact endured. Colleagues, now aware of their role, offered nods of respect, viewing the K9 unit as frontline protectors. The summit incident, reported vaguely to the public as a security concern, reinforced the silent heroism of Matt and Riot. Their story, rooted in instinct, trust, and decisive action, celebrates a partnership that not only saved lives but also redefined the role of K9s in safeguarding high-stakes environments against unseen dangers. The riveting account of the International Defense Summit in Washington, D.C., weaves together the extraordinary instincts of Riot, a Belgian Malinois K9, the deep trust between him and his handler, Officer Matt Collins, the unmasking of a sophisticated assassination plot, the exposure of security vulnerabilities, and the heroic intervention that averted disaster. Yet at its core, this narrative celebrates the broader theme of instinct and intuition, both animal and human, as a powerful force in navigating high-stakes situations. Held at the Grand Hyatt, Washington, the summit was a fortress safeguarding global defense leaders, including the U.S. Secretary of Defense. Riot's unerring alerts and Matt's faith in them not only thwarted a deadly threat, but also posed a profound question to all. In critical moments, can we trust our instincts to see what logic and technology miss? This story underscores the timeless value of intuition in ensuring safety. Riot's instincts were the catalyst for the summit's salvation. Trained to detect subtle physiological cues, micro-expressions, stress responses, or controlled breathing, Riot fixated on Francisco Ibarra, a Sinaloa cartel operative posing as Secret Service officer Frank Castle. His persistent signals, from tensed muscles to protective posturing, cut through Ibarra's flawless facade of forged credentials and professional demeanor. Matt, shaped by the Westlake incident, where ignoring Riot's warnings led to a security breach, chose to trust his K9's intuition over the apparent legitimacy of Ibarra's cover. This decision, reinforced by Matt's own intuitive probing of Ibarra's inconsistencies, like a fabricated Pittsburgh field office, unraveled a plot armed with a neurotoxin pen and a modified Glock 26, likely targeting the Secretary of Defense. The confrontation, where Riot's swift attack and Matt's tactical response neutralized Ibarra, exemplified how instinct can triumph where systems falter. The story extends beyond Riot's animal intuition to Matt's human courage in acting on it. In a high-pressure environment of snipers, scanners, and vetted personnel, questioning a seemingly legitimate officer risked professional repercussions. Yet Matt's trust in Riot, honed through their partnership, emboldened him to follow his gut, a choice that saved lives. This narrative, seamlessly linked to the summit's heroic intervention, resonates with universal themes: the courage to trust intuition against conventional wisdom and the power of instinct to reveal hidden truths. The expansion of Homeland Security's K9 behavioral detection program, spurred by Riot's success, reflects a broader recognition that intuition, animal or human, complements technology in countering sophisticated threats. As Matt and Riot resumed patrols at Reagan National Airport, their bond, strengthened by this ordeal, embodied the silent power of instinct. The story's reflective questions about trusting a partner's warnings or acting on gut feelings invite readers to consider their own experiences with intuition. In a world of advanced security, Riot's amber eyes and Matt's resolve remind us that instinct, whether from a 70-pound K9 or a seasoned officer, can be the ultimate safeguard, guiding us through danger when all else fails.